Hey, what's up, what's up, what's up? How you doing? How you been? What's going on? What's good? How you getting it in? Body getting it funny? What's going on, people?
June 12, 2017, Pulse nightclub shooting, 49 victims remembered 1 year later. Around 2 a.m., a vigil was held for survivors, local officials, and club employees. At the same time, the gunman opened fire on the crowded gay club on June 12, 2016. It was the first of 3 services taking place in Orlando area. 2 of the service, one in midday and one in the late night. The nightclub will take place as a gathering downtown in Orlando. And all U.S. flags in the state will also be flown, half-staff. Governor Rick Scott announced a giant rainbow flag will be unveiled at the Orange County Government Building. Now, I'm going to give you an idea in reference to the what they were talking about at the gathering. Check this out.
Returns to Pulse. The world's attention, at least for a moment, returns to Pulse. But we are not here to live the horror of that day. We are not here to relive the horror of that day. We're here for a far greater purpose. We are here to remember the innocent lives that were lost. We're here to honor them, along with their families and their loved ones. And we're here to salute the survivors. Some of them are here with us, and some are not ready to return to Pulse. And to each of you, the survivors, as hard as we try, we can't begin to know or understand the depth of darkness that you've experienced over the past 12 months. We can't begin to know or understand your pain. We can't begin to know or understand the burden that you carry around as you've cried, you've prayed, you've mourned. But we can say thank you for your grace, for your courage, for your determination, and for your love. We continue to stand in awe of you, the survivors and the families, as you lead by example and show the world the power of love in the face of hate. We stand with you, and we can recommit to you the promise that we made a year ago, that we are with you, that Orlando has your back no matter what. We're also here today to recognize and honor the first responders, the medical professionals, the volunteers, and the other countless heroes who swung into action that early morning on June the 12th. After 12 months of healing, I find comfort in the fact that the most enduring images are not of chaos, but of bravery and of courage, compassion, and kindness. Our police officers and firefighters carrying victims out of this club onto Orange Avenue. An officer's pickup truck being used as a makeshift ambulance over and over and over, back and forth to Orlando Regional. The shoes that were mentioned of an ER doc that he wore and his colleagues fought to save the lives of victim after victim. The city employees and volunteers who worked at the Family Assistance Center. Food and supplies pouring in from every corner of this community. Lines that stretched and stretched as volunteers gave blood. The list of acts of courage and kindness go on and on. And finally, we are here this morning to thank the greater Orlando community. The survivors and their families and the families of the victims still bear scars, seen and unseen, and will do so. But so do those who witnessed the horror firsthand. The impacts of this tragedy extend even further. So many people watched the events unfold on TV. They heard accounts from their friends. So many people cried for victims that they had never met. They sent money to help people that they never knew. And all of us as a community bear the marks of June the 12th. In the face of what happened at Pulse, it would have been so easy to turn to anger and to hatred. But that's not what happened in our community. In the face of the most unimaginable tragedy, our community rallied behind a simple ideal that through the good times and through the bad times, We are one Orlando. And being one Orlando means being a place where diversity and inclusion are our strengths. They're the bedrock of our community. Being one Orlando means that each of us has the responsibility to lead by example and to love one another. Being Orlando means being committed to working together to overcome our challenges despite the differences that we may have. And being one Orlando means that rather than being defined by the act of a hate-filled killer, we choose to be defined by love, compassion, and our unity. And I've heard it said that this one Orlando ideal emerged from the Pulse tragedy, but I have a slightly different interpretation of that. I don't believe that the Pulse shooting created our one Orlando ideal. It doesn't happen in crisis. It simply can't be conjured up on a day like June the 12th. It wouldn't happen if we weren't already a diverse, inclusive community. A year ago today, our true identity as a city was fully revealed. And in so doing, Orlando showed the world what I know to be true, that the best of America lives right here in our Orlando community. But the thing is, one Orlando can't be static. It has to be a living, ever-growing ideal. So we can't be bystanders. Over the last 12 months, I've spoken publicly about Pulse, and I often borrow a line that I heard exactly a week after Pulse, and that was from one of our local pastors. And he said, Orlando has been anointed to show the world how to combat hatred and evil and promote equality and embrace diversity. And we don't just have the opportunity to do this, we now have the responsibility to do this. Thank you, I love you, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer.
So many people lead our community through tragedy and triumph, and I cannot be, I'd be remiss to tell you if this next person I'm about to introduce isn't an example of love winning. We all go on our own journeys, and she's been on hers for a very long time, and she's been on her own journey the past 12 months. They're every step of the way for every one of us in this community. It is Orange County Mayor and my friend, Teresa Jacobs.
Para los latinos que están aquí, Teresa la alcaldesa. That's what we call her in Spanish.
Gracias. Welcome. It is so wonderful to see all of you here with us today. As I reflect on the events of last night and today, I'm reminded of the miraculous ability of love. It's amazing. The more you give, the more you have. The more you give, the more you get. It's this undepletable resource. And I've never seen any community in the world that has the love that this community has. I want to start with thanking the Orlando Gay Choir. Oh my gosh, you are awesome. And I want to thank Barbara Poma. She's been such a rock. Wow. From her vision to create this place where all would be welcome, to the way that she has been the mother, if you will, of a community that needed so much support and so much love. But your songs today were so needed. We needed to hear that strength. We needed to be reminded at a time, at a day when this is particularly hard on so many in our community. We needed to be reminded of what we're made of. We're made of great stuff. As we spend today in remembrance of the 49 souls we lost, I want to, of course, offer my condolences to the families that lost loved ones, to those that are still recovering. I wish there was some way that through all of us that are willing to bear that pain and to open our hearts to share that pain, I wish we could lift even an ounce of the pain and suffering. I'm not sure that it works that way, But I do want everyone to know that this whole community is with you in heart, in soul, in spirit. And we are with you in action as well. As tragic and horrific as the events of June 12th were, we always need to remember that the last chapter wasn't written at 3 o'clock in the morning. And the last chapter was not written by a person who came to our community with hate that we will never understand, that good people can never comprehend. That is not going to be our legacy. It could be. It very well could be our legacy. A legacy of the day hate won. But we're not going to let that be our legacy. Because even before our SWAT team heroically took down that gunman, even before then, we saw the acts of love triumphing right here in this building. We saw love before it started, and then we saw love when those heroic patrons who ran to safety and then ran back in to rescue their friends and to rescue strangers. And we saw love in our first responders, and we saw love in our law enforcement officers. And the next morning, when the rest of Orlando woke up and discovered what had happened, we saw love pouring forth from all parts of our community. From people who had never even given thought to what was Pulse. From people who had never even given thought to what does LGBTQ mean anyway. We saw that hearts were opened and minds were changed, and there was this moment in time where our community understood what they had never understood before. I would say in the history of mankind, human beings have walked through life not seeing the full spectrum of the rainbow. Imagine if you could only see 5 colors and not 6 or 8. How different would the world look? Today here in Orlando, we see clearly, and we see how bright and colorful and rich and warm and welcoming and loving it is to accept all human beings just the way they are. And we are going to make sure that the legacy of June 12th and the legacy of Pulse is the legacy of love and compassion. It will be the legacy not of the day when hatred triumphed for 2 hours. Not of the day when we were tested and we lost our precious members of our community. Not of the day when 49 of our brothers and sisters became our Pulse angels. That will be a part of the history books. But the true legacy of our community is going to be that in our darkest hour, we responded with love and compassion and unity. It's going to be that we showed the world what love really looks like. It is going to be the day that on this sacred ground, that love truly did triumph over evil, and lightness really did drown out the dark. Because we in Orlando, we are that love, and we are that light, and we are Orlando United, and we are the best of humanity.
Mendez Perez, Jerry Wright.
Joel Rayon Paniagua, Jonathan Antonio Camuy Vega, Juan Chavez Martinez.
Juan Pablo Rivera Velázquez, Juan Ramón Guerrero, Christopher Drew Leon, Kimberly Morris, Leroy Valentín Fernández, Luis Daniel Conde, Luis Daniel Wilson León.
Luis Omar Ocasio Capo, Luis Sergio Vielma, Martín Benítez Torres, Miguel Ángel Honorato, Oscar A. Aracena Montero, Simón Adrián Carrillo Fernández, Paul Terrell Henry.
Peter Omi González Cruz, Rodolfo Ayala, Shane Tomlinson, Stanley Almodóvar III, Tevin Eugene Crosby, Xavier Emanuel Serrano, Gilmarie Rodríguez Sullivan.
Please join me in prayer. Dear God, we thank you for your blessings on this event today. We are grateful for the knowledge that these 49 souls now live with you, that through you they understand the truth and the glory of truly living one with God. May our hearts remain open. May we release any anger, any fear. May we address all things in life with love. We ask this and give thanks for this in and after the nature of Jesus the Christ, and so it is. Amen.
1 year later, rest in peace. Rest in peace, family. And I would love to hear feedback, and I will let you know that I love you. And thank you for watching Catch the Ray.